Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to KRS TV. This is your boy Kenny, and this is a new episode of my new show here on YouTube called Tea and Scandals. I'd like to thank you all for clicking on, and this episode is about the seed planter himself, the living legend, Smokey Robinson. Smokey Robinson was the creator of the Motown sound and was the founder and frontman for his group The Miracles, which was created in 1955, and he stayed with the group until 1972 when he left the group to focus on his role as the vice president of Motown. Born William Robinson in Detroit in 1940, his nickname Smokey came from his uncle Claude, who would watch westerns with him, and they would play cowboys and Indians together, and he gave him the nickname Smokey Joe. So when he was a kid, when people asked him what was his name, he was like, "My name is Smokey Joe." And the name Smokey stuck with him, and let's just say now the name Smokey's legendary. Also, he grew up on Belmont Street in Detroit, and he lived several houses down from Aretha Franklin, who he met when she was 5 years old, and they were lifelong friends. Also, Diana Ross also used to live on the same street as him as well before her and her family moved to the Brewster Projects. One of Smokey Robinson's music inspirations were Barry Strong, and Barry Strong was the guy who created the first #1 hit for Motown, "Money That's What I Want," but became a noted songwriter and producer, especially with his collaborations with Norman Whitfield. So Barry Strong was one of his musical inspirations, as well as Billy Ward and the Dominoes. In 1955, he created the group The Five Chimes, which consisted of Ronald White, Peter Moore. In 1957, the group was renamed the Motodoors. And it included Emerson Rodgers and Bobby Rodgers. Later on, Emerson Rodgers was replaced by Bobby's cousin, Claudette Rodgers, and their guitarist, Marv Tarplin, would join in 1958. Now, as far as Claudette Rodgers, Berry Gordy gave her the title the First Lady of Motown, because she was the first female to be signed to Tumblr and Motown, with her being a part of the Miracles. The Motodoors performed in Detroit venues, and later on they would change the name from the Motodoors to the Miracles. In 1957, Smokey met Berry Gordy for the first time after the Miracles had a failed audition with Brunswick Records. And Brunswick Records, their top act at that time was Jackie Wilson, who Berry Gordy used to write and produce songs for Jackie Wilson. And after they failed their audition, they actually saw Gordy in the corner sitting in a chair. They went to him, and him and Berry struck up a conversation, and he definitely knew that they were there he definitely heard their audition, so he definitely loved them. And he said that he asked him about the songs that he wrote. I think he had performed like about 5 songs, and he said, well, 2 of those songs I like. And then Berry had asked Smokey, do you have any more songs? Well, let's just say Smokey came prepared, because he had his 10-inch notebook with over 100 songs in it that he had been writing songs ever since high school. So that's something that really struck with him, because he was impressed by Smokey's voice, because he had a very unique singing voice that a lot of men don't have. I mean, it's this beautiful falsetto that's just out of this world. And then also, he loved his ambitious songwriting. So with the help of Berry Gordy, the Miracles released their first single on a label called N Records, and the name of the song was Got a Job, which was an answer song to the Silhouette song "Get a Job," and that song actually plays at the end of the movie. What's the name of that movie? Trading Places. There we go. And earlier when I said that he was the seed planter, well, let's just say this: if it wasn't for Smokey Robinson, Motown probably would not have happened. So him and Barry, had this conversation, and it was after Barry had received a producer's check from Brunswick for $3.19. So even though he was the writer for Jackie Wilson, who was the top act on Brunswick Records, Berry Gordy wasn't getting any money. So it was Smokey who told him, why not go in business for yourself? Because if you're going to be working and not making any money, what's the difference? So in 1959, Berry Gordy actually started Tamla Records, which would soon become Motown Records. Also in the same year, 1959, Smokey Robinson married Claudette Rodgers. They would go on to have 2 children, Barry Robinson, who was named after Berry Gordy, their son Barry Robinson, and they also had a daughter, Tamla Robinson, which was named after Tamla Records, which was the label before it became Motown Records. He also has a son, Trey, that was born in 1984, with another woman during his marriage to Claudette, and his extramarital affairs is what led them to break up, and they divorced in 1986. In 1959, Barry starts Tamla Records. The Miracles was one of the first acts he signed. In 1960, the Miracles released their first song on Tamla Records, "Shop Around," which went #1 R&B and #2 pop. It was the first million seller for Motown. Through the decade 1960 to 1970, Smokey would write and produce 26 top 40 hits for the Miracles. And later they would become Smokey Robinson and the Miracles in 1965. Some of these top 10 hits were "You Really Got a Hold on Me," "I Second That Emotion," "Mickey's Monkey," "Baby Baby Don't Cry," and their biggest hit, as far as Smokey Robinson and the Miracles, was "Tears of a Clown," which went #1 pop and #1 R&B in 1970. Other top 20 hits included "Ooh Baby Baby," one of the classics. I love that song. "The Tracks of My Tears," "More Love." That's definitely one of my favorites. I still listen to "More Love" to this day. "Going to a Go-Go," "Come Around Here," "I'm the One You Need," and "The Love I Saw in You Was Just a Mirage," which were some of their top 20 hits with the Miracles. But not only that, he was the golden pen of Motown Records, because from 1962 to 1966, he wrote and produced many hits for other Motown acts such as Mary Wells, The Temptations, Brenda Holloway, The Marvelettes, Marvin Gaye. But his, position as being the top Motown producer and writer, changed after the arrival of Holland Dozier Holland, and later Norman Whitfield and Barrett Strong. But he still, after that, still produced songs, even through the 70s. He even produced the song "Floor Joy" for the Supremes. And that was the Supremes after Diana Ross had left the group. It was around, the mid-60s is when he became the vice president of Motown, after Berry Gordy's sister, I think her name was Esther Gordy, had stepped down as the vice president. He became the vice president after she left. And he would continue to be a part of Smokey Robinson and the Miracles until he left the group in 1972. His first solo album, Smokey, was released in 1973, which included the hit ballad "Baby Come Close." His second album, Pure Smokey, didn't produce any hits, Around this time, though, fellow collaborators that he had at Motown, such as Marvin Gaye and Stevie Wonder, were having hits at this time, whereas Smokey struggled to get a hit. In 1975, he released his third album, A Quiet Storm, which included the #1 hit Baby That's Back At Ya, The Agony and Ecstasy, which, I love that song too, which is actually about an extramarital affair he had while married to Claudette. And also Quiet Storm, classic. However, though, after 1975, his solo career suffered, due to him being vice president of Motown. Also, he was battling a very bad drug habit. He was addicted to cocaine. And he also suffered a writer's block because he had released 4 albums that did poorly and got bad reviews. But let's just say luck changed in 1979 due to Marv Tarplin, who joined Smokey in, I think, in '73. He was the original guitarist for the Miracles, but he actually joined Smokey when Smokey went solo in 1973, and he actually created this tune that he composed on his guitar, which Smokey wrote the lyrics. And with that collaboration came his first solo pop hit, Cruisin', which went to #4 on the pop charts in 1979. And yes, that song is a classic. It's been redone by Huey Lewis and Gwyneth Paltrow and even D'Angelo. So that song is timeless. 2 years later, he would chop the charts again with the ballad "Being With You," which went #2 on the pop charts, and it also went #1 on the UK charts, making "Being With You" his most successful single to date. In 1983, he also collaborated with Rick James on one of my favorite, Rick James songs, "Ebony Eyes." In 1987, after years of battling with drug addiction and professional issues, Smokey Robinson made a comeback, clean and sober, and he released the album One Heartbeat. The song "Just to See Her," I even remember watching this video when I was a kid. "Just to See Her" went #8 on the pop charts, #2 on the R&B charts, and he would win his first Grammy for Best Male R&B Performance in 1988. And One Heartbeat became his most successful album. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1987, but there was controversy because they only inducted him, not him in the Miracles, which he was deeply offended by. But they rectified that situation in 2002, where the Miracles were inducted as well. Smokey Robinson is a living legend who still performs and makes appearances today. I had to say, earlier today, while I was working on this episode, I watched his interview with the Breakfast Club that he did back in 2016. And I'm just amazed by this man, that he is still just as fresh and is still just as open as he was, when he first started his career. It's like even though he's a much older man, he still loves performing. He still loves making appearances, and he is still, definitely somebody that I admire and look up to. So that's what I have, everybody. If you guys have any, if there's anything I missed, put it down in the comments. Or if you have, some things you want to talk about as far as Smokey Robinson, feel free to get down in the comments and let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear from you. But subscribe to my channel. Click that bell so you can get notifications every time I drop a video. Also, follow me on all of my social platforms. I have them all listed in the description box. Also, like this video, comment on this video, and share this video. And I will be back with another episode of Tea and Scandals. So until next time, everybody, take care.